You don't have an information problem, you have an implementation problem. I learned this the hard way. Early in my journey, I was consuming everything. I was reading all the books, I was going to seminars, I was buying audio programs, I had notebooks filled with insights, and I felt like I was becoming someone. Then Bob Proctor looked at me and he said, Arash, you're one of the most well-read broke people I've ever met. I busted out laughing. I wanted to argue, but I couldn't. He was right. The results always tell the truth. I had confused motion with progress. I thought learning meant gathering knowledge. More knowledge, more knowledge, more knowledge. Read the books, take the notes, feel inspired. Move on. That's not learning, that's entertainment. Real learning is 3 steps, and most people never get past step 1. 1, you get intellectually involved with the idea. You understand the idea. It makes sense. This is where most people stop. They get it, next video. They never go deep enough. Step 2, which is crucial, you have to get emotionally involved with it. Let it challenge you. Let it make you uncomfortable. Feel the gap between who you are and who you want to become. In step 3, you have to act on the idea. Not safe action, bold action, effective action, action the future you would take. Your results tell you if you learned it. Not your notes, not your highlights, your bank account. I had a client, Diana, who came to me frustrated. She is what I like to call inspirationally dissatisfied. She was sick and tired of being sick and tired. She said, Arash, I've done everything. I've read the books. I've read Think and Grow Rich 5 times. I've been to every seminar you can imagine. I know this stuff. That was nails on a chalkboard to me, where she said, I know this stuff. The results always tell us how much we know. I said, show me your calendar from last week, Diana. She pulled it up, and I saw the schedule of someone earning exactly what she was earning. Not 1 hour blocked for the woman she claimed she wanted to become. Worse, she turned down a speaking opportunity 3 weeks earlier because she wasn't ready. That opportunity went to someone with half her knowledge and twice her boldness. That's the cost of information without implementation. Opportunity is never the problem. It's always the opportunist. And that's why people keep creating the same year after year for 50 years and call it a life, because they never bust through and break their comfort zone and act on ideas. So how do you close the gap? How do you stop knowing and being obsessed with gathering more information and start becoming? The doing is where all the results come from. That's where identity comes in. And this is the next part. This is the real mechanism behind every quantum leap I've ever witnessed. Your income is an absolute reflection of your identity, period. Change the identity, change the income. It's that simple and that hard. Most people set goals without changing who they are. That's the definition of insanity. They have a goal that they want to earn $1 million or more a year. Awesome goal. But you're still the person who second guesses every decision. You're still making every decision from your old programming. You're never going to get to where you want to go. You're making decisions from your past self. It is absolutely essential you start making decisions from your goal, from your future self. You want to start acting like success is guaranteed. Are you still the person who tolerates mediocrity in your actions, in your calendar, in your language? Are you still the person who's negotiating with yourself every morning and defaulting back to comfort? The goal can't arrive when you are not aligned with the person who's already achieved the goal. It is always about thinking, feeling, and acting like the person who's already received your goal, who's already achieved your goal. Let me tell you about my own shift. Before I changed my life, I was stuck in a corporate job that I knew I outgrew. On paper, I was earning 6 figures. In reality, I was as stuck can be. I was living paycheck to paycheck, no wealth, no freedom, no vision, no inspiration. When I found my mentor, Bob Proctor, I didn't just learn something, I decided something. I was going to change my life. I was going to create a life of freedom for me and my family. I wasn't just hoping, I wasn't just wishing. I decided and I put myself on the hook and went all in. I made an irrevocable committed decision. I decided I was going to become someone who earned through my mind, not just my time. Someone who transformed lives. Someone who operated at a completely different standard. And here's the key. I started living as that person before the results ever showed up. I changed how I made decisions. I changed how I dressed. I changed how I thought. And I definitely changed how I act. I started acting well before I was ready. But the greatest change is I started operating with urgency. I started doing things right away. But I always started asking one question before every decision. What would my future self do? People in my circle thought I had lost my mind. My circumstances hadn't changed, but I had. I bet on myself. And 6 months later, the circumstances caught up. Here's the science. A study by Dr. Benjamin Hardy found that people who make identity-based decisions are 3 times more likely to sustain behavioral change than those who set outcome-based goals. Your brain doesn't fight for goals, it fights for identity. This is why lottery winners go broke. External changes does not match their internal thermostat. The internal thermostat always wins. The goal is never to get more money. And this is what most people miss. They're constantly chasing money. They're always a slave to money. The goal is to chase our greatness. The goal is to become someone who naturally earns it. We want to normalize wealth like your current results. Here's a framework I teach my most elite clients. It's called my future self framework. Every day, align these 5 areas with your future self. Number 1, make every decision from your future, the person who's already achieved your goal. Number 2, you live your few standards that your goal demands every day, over and over again. Number 3, you're going to match the identity of your future self. What does that mean? That means you're going to think thoughts that are aligned with your future self. You're going to feel the emotions that are aligned with your future self, and you're going to take actions that are aligned with your future self. And then you're going to focus on what is that one discipline that your future self is operating with that you currently are not. And you're going to start building that discipline every day, over and over and over again. And the last part is you're going to operate from the most positive, prosperous mental attitude. Now, when you start observing yourself, not every day you're going to be 5 for 5, but this is what's going to cause you to stop drifting. Now, I know what you're thinking. Arash, that sounds great, but my current results keep pulling me back. I hear you. And what I'm about to say is going to challenge everything you believe about discipline. I used to be the most undisciplined person you could have ever met. I was always starting and stopping. I never followed through. Now, if I can create great discipline like I have, so can you. You don't have a discipline problem. You have a commitment problem. You have a decision problem. And how I know that? Because I had the same. If this video is resonating with you, make sure to hit the subscribe and like button below. Everyone thinks they need more willpower, more motivation, another morning routine, another habit tracker app. That's not what you need. You need a single decision that makes success automatic. I had a client, a former athlete. He was built like a truck. He couldn't stop eating junk food at night. He was perfect all day, disciplined. But once 10 p.m. hit, he would destroy a bag of chips, sometimes 2. He tried everything. Willpower, accountability, not keeping snacks in his house. His wife literally started hiding food. Nothing worked. When we talked, I asked him, who are you when it hits 10 p.m. and you're reaching for those bags of chips? He didn't understand what I meant. So I kept prodding him. I pushed him. I said, in that moment, who do you believe you are? He thought about it. Then he said, Arash, I guess I'm the guy who believes he deserves a reward after a hard day. There it was. His identity in that single moment was someone who rewards himself with food. And you cannot ever out-discipline an identity, is what I told him. The identity always wins. So we never worked on willpower. We rewired his ability to decide who he was. He decided at the identity level, I am someone who recovers through rest, not food. One decision changed his whole life. The late night eating stopped, not through force, through becoming someone else. Here's the test. When someone offers you drugs, you don't need discipline to say no. If you're genuinely not someone who does drugs, the decision's already made. There's no negotiation. But when your identity is unclear, every choice becomes a tug of war. You exhaust yourself fighting your own uncertainty. That's not discipline, that's failure. That's a decision failure. The people who look disciplined are never running on willpower. They make identity-based decisions that eliminate their internal debate. I'm someone who shows up. I'm someone who keeps their word. I'm someone who operates at a world-class level. When that's your identity, not your goal, your identity, the actions become automatic. So the real question isn't, how do I get more disciplined? It's, what decisions have I been avoiding about who I am? What are you still negotiating with yourself about? What commitment exists in your head, but not in every cell of your being? That's the leak. That's where your energy drains. That's why success feels exhausting. Decision always creates confidence, not the other way around. Now, here's the part that separates transformation from inspiration, because everything I've shared means nothing if you miss this, and I promise you almost everyone does. Transformation doesn't live at the level of strategy. It lives at the level of commitment, the kind that is never up for negotiation. Here's the pattern I see over and over again. Tell me if this is you. Someone decides they want to change. They get super fired up. They get excited. They're enthusiastic. They start consuming so much more content. They make a plan. They start strong. Then adversity hits and life pushes back. Results don't come fast enough. Someone criticizes them. They hit a wall. They hit a plateau. And what do? They start negotiating with their commitment. Maybe this isn't the right time for me. Maybe I need a different strategy. Maybe I'm just not ready. That's not pivoting, that's self-sabotage. Let me tell you about a night that almost ended my entire career. Early on, after I committed to this path, I hit a season where nothing was working. I was doing everything. I was showing up, I was changing my habits, I was building my identity, but the money wasn't coming. The opportunities weren't appearing. My bank account looked like a rejection letter. I remember I was in San Francisco, California for a good friend of mine's wedding, John Dugan. And I went over to my wife that night and I said, I'm just giving up. This just isn't working for me. And I thought I was serious that I was giving up. And the next morning I woke up, I was a completely different person. Not only was I not giving up, I got super competitive with myself and I decided I'm going to figure this out. And I had a moment where the adversity hit, where my commitment was wavering, but then I changed. I was not willing to give in to my dream. And in that moment, I realized that the universe tests us. That was a test for me. The universe wasn't punishing me. It was asking me a question: how serious do you really want your dream? How serious are you to create a life of freedom? I had made a decision, not a preference. I beat adversity, so I stayed. And within 3 months, everything shifted. Opportunities that had been invisible suddenly appeared. Income that had been stuck started flowing. Everything changed in my life because I committed. Here's what I understand now. Those opportunities were always there. I just couldn't see them. I wasn't ready to see them. I wasn't available for my goal. I wasn't available for the person I had to become. The struggle wasn't blocking my success. It was building the version of me who could handle it. The people who become magnetic to money, where money is chasing them, they can never be ignored, made a commitment, a relentless, irrevocable, committed decision that was never up for discussion. Commitment isn't emotional. I wasn't motivated every day. Some months I saw nothing. But I wasn't operating on feelings. I was operating on a decision that was stronger than any emotion. So I want to ask you directly, what have you truly committed to? Not wished, not hoped, but followed through day in and day out. Not what do you want, not what sounds good. What have you committed to at the level where it is no longer negotiable? Because until you answer this question, you're going to keep drifting, starting and stopping. And people who drift become background noise. Now let me pull this all together and give you the one thing you can do today to start becoming someone money can't ignore. You're not the same person who started this video. Here's what you now understand. Money isn't ignoring you by accident. It's responding to who you're being. If you're showing up as your old self, you're going to keep creating the same results. Money loves speed. Decision collapses time, and money is going to start chasing you when you start making every decision from your future, not from your comfort. Thanks for watching this video. I want you to keep on my page and consume it. This is free material for you to change your life. I know one idea changed my life, and I want this to be the idea that is going to change your life, so you live a life of opulence, you live a life of freedom, and you grow so much greater than you even think you can.